get them started early. Lots of people ask me questions when they see photos of intricate bits of furniture or the size of the chateau or cobwebs everywhere, saying, you know, how do you clean this place? Imagine what it takes. My answer is generally, I don't really even attempt it. But which is partly in jest, partly serious, because when you live in an old building like this, it's not the same as living in my old 2-bedroom apartment, where it's just a different way of living. That doesn't mean to say we live in filth, but dust is more common. You don't clean a chandelier every single week. So today I thought I would show you a bit of daily routine and tell you how we do clean some of the more unusual bits and pieces in the chateau when we do it. And my daily routine starts with dealing with animals. It's cold today, although actually Piggy Pigs doesn't have a lot of water. I've got to melt his water. Oh, pig! Oh yeah, you might not have noticed our newest pig. We got given another pig. Pig number 1 roams wild now and comes back for the night, for the day. And Piggy 2 is very well behaved. Hello, pig. Hello, pig. Little snuffler. That's not too much ice today, is there? It is not too much ice today, is there? You're so cute. Hello, everybody. Hello, everybody. This is Adonis's worst nightmare. Come on. Who have you been pecking? Out, all of you, out. I need to get to the food. Right. Go on. Hello, Tiny. Hello, Olaf. We used to have these amazing automatic feeders that would stop rats and stuff being a problem, because the chickens step on them and feed themselves. Unfortunately, Piggy 1 destroys them every time he sees them, and since we can't keep Piggy 1 indoors anywhere at the moment in their enclosures, we're back to hand feeding. Oh, it's cold. I need to get some water for them as well. This is the cellar under, well, it's not cellar, it's above ground, but it's underneath the tower house, and it's possibly the oldest bit of the chateau. And rather hilariously, Piggy number 1, who goes out at night now, comes back here in the daytime. It started when he injured his leg. He comes in and he's gone and fetched bags, and he's made, we helped him and gave him an old dog bed and things, but he goes and picks up sheets, like sheets for a bed, and covers himself up with them and has a little sleep during the day in here, which is quite funny. He's very lovely. So yeah, that's Piggy 1's bed. Hello, Tiny. Okay, no, I can't find the other waterers. I'll get them some later, but they've got 2 places to get water. I'll tip some barrel over on them. I'm just going to go to the barn here and show you something. In the woodshed, which I'll be back into in a minute to get wood for the fire, we store bags of dry bread, which you can buy from the baker. You can go in and buy a sack of dried stale bread for anything as little as 50 cents or €1, although some sell it for a bit more. But it's great food for the pig. Hello, pig, 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 pig. We also give him all our scraps and the chickens too. Oh, sorry, pig, pig. Mark told me a really interesting thing last night. There was a town in, I think, Belgium, where they offered everybody there 3 chickens for free if they wanted. And something like 2,000 people took 3 chickens. And within a couple of weeks, they'd reduced the household waste produced by the whole town by 130 tonnes. I mean, we wouldn't even consider putting any food scraps or organic waste into the bin anymore because, well, not that we ever did really, but the chickens and the pigs have it all, or the compost heap and the garden. We have a really great stock of wood here because we have 130 acres of mostly forest, and it's chopped and stored several years in advance. But this winter it's got quite cold recently, so we're getting through it quite quickly, and some of the wood isn't terribly dry. This is an old cart that Marc renovated and put the wood back on. It's also our rubbish shed, so our recycling. It's a bit of a mess. And this wood is just for the kitchen fire, but that does actually provide most of our heat in the winter because we spend all our time in there. And it's a super duper Vermont castings stove that has the kilowatt output to support a small house really, and has a cooking plate so we can cook properly on it. It's amazingly efficient so that you can switch it down to work on a catalytic combustion overnight, and just one log will last all night, which is great because it means you don't have to make the fire again in the morning, unless you forget to switch it over and then it's all burnt out and you're very sad in the morning. This is quite hard to do when the kids are around, coming in and going, so I try and get a whole load in one go when I can. And Marc was on the phone, so I just left him with the children. Oh, it is chilly. Okay, that'll do for now. I'll probably keep us going a couple of days. Oh. It's a bit long, that one. The only slight problem we have now is that we used to stock them beside the stove, but we've had to put a child fence up now, so we just have to kind of build them up in front of it. A lot of the original floors in the chateau were taken up, but in the kitchen we have the 19th century cement tiles, which we tell you all sorts about in our Advent series where we toured each room, and I'll link to that video below. One of the challenges in here though is it's the room where everybody comes in. In the summer there's the animals in and out, there's children, there's people in muddy boots, but it's also the place where the kids spend most time indoors. So it's a constant battle to get on top of it. And I won't lie, most of the time we just whip a mop over it and get the worst of it up. But every now and again, it's nice to get them properly back to their original colour. And one of the tools for doing this is, in France, it's called lessive Saint Marc. It's basically caustic soda. And it's a really simple way of scrubbing it very, very clean. It's also not something that's very compatible with little children. Is it, baby? Or cats. This is Madame Chacha. I don't know if we've introduced him to you. Clement named him. He's normally a very, very active cat, but he's had a run-in with another animal outside and is not very happy right now. So he's spending the whole day in front of the fire. He was brought in to deal with mice, but just sits and watches them. Do you want to take Madame Chacha and make him sit on the chair with you, baby? Just tickle his head. Okay. No, don't pull him by the tail. Yeah, that's nice. He likes that. Oops, oops, oops. The proportions are on the back of here. It says 20 grams per litre. That's about 4 tablespoons for 2 litres. It's not for you, little Shasha. It doesn't really matter that much. It's just a guide. Today I'm just going to do a little bit of the floor because I would normally do it when the kids are out. Incidentally, there's a fascinating video I saw online by Business Insider about how there's a traditional family in Egypt still making cement tiles, or a family in Egypt still making cement tiles in the traditional way. And I'll link that below in the description because I think it's really, really fascinating and I'd love to visit them. This way I really get into the grout as well. Obviously this isn't the normal bucket I would do it with.
There's some water.
Is there? Thanks, baby. I'm going to just rinse it now with straightforward water. Obviously with these two around I can't do a proper clean of everything today, but I just wanted to show you the difference. Yeah, just have a look at before and after. Get them started early. One of the big challenges about cleaning a place like this is the height of the ceilings. Again, it's not something you clean very often, nearly never. But sometimes you look up and you go, oh, there are a lot of spider webs up there. And there are also a very distinctive thing in buildings like this, the plafond de la Française. Now, those of you who watched our longest ever chateau tour will have heard Marc describe that, and it's an ornamental feature, but it basically works as a dust magnet for the ceiling because there's just so many nooks and crannies. So we need this vital piece of equipment. It looks like a chimney sweeping brush, but it's not. It's designed for use indoors. And you love it, don't you, Clement?
Yeah.
What do we use it for, lovey?
Yeah.
Where do we clean?
There.
Oh, Clement wants to clean the floor with it. Why don't we clean the ceiling, my baby?
At the bottom.
Shall I do it? Shall I do it? Okay. And so over here, for example, we have some little cobwebs. And me, I'm not short, but I'm not tall. I can get right up in there. And it's nice, you can get right into the gaps. Obviously, I'd probably want to wear a dust mask if it was really bad, but it's not too bad. There. Yeah. Oh, there's a good, can you see the spider web, Clement? Look, there, quick. Oh, Mummy got it. Mummy got it.
What spider?
There's no spiders in there, but there was a spider's web. And so you can just run up and down like this. There's another interesting thing about dust. I have become better at the whole dust issue since having children, because household dust is very bad for their lungs. It's as bad as wood smoke, very fine particles. And actually, one of the ways I get around the fact that we live in a dusty building is I have an air filter in the bedrooms, which means that they're guaranteed to have good air at night, filtering out the very tiny particles, the PM 2.5 particles. And it also helps if you're living in a renovation space. Oh. So yeah, I can show you it up a bit closer. It's quite soft. I think this one came from Marc's family home. It's quite soft, but the bristles are quite stiff as well, so they can really get into corners. I think it's a bit too hard for chandeliers though. This one maybe. This is horrible, this chandelier that came with the place. And you can't really get inside it. No, it's not really good enough for that, but it's got in some of it. There's no getting around it. Chandeliers are an almighty pain to clean. And I'm going to show you how to do our glass one downstairs. This is one of the more complex chandeliers that we have, and this is the one that has prompted people to ask, how on earth do you clean something like that? And in fact, you don't really see it as being dusty or dirty, but it's true, once you get up here, you start to see a few bits and pieces that might need a bit of attention. And gosh, there's some broken bits as well. The only thing I can come up with is using a very soft bristled brush to gently brush it all, and then where I can, I use a rag to polish it. And I'm using actually a glazing brush. I'm sure you could use something else, but this seems to be one of the softest ones I can find. And you get into these enamelled flowers really far in. You can see the dust coming off it actually. But you really don't want anything harder than this, or it'll really damage them. That's interesting. That was an insect nest of some kind. But you see these little flowers here. It's working really well to get the dust off them. You can see the dust flying. Wowee. Whew. That was a decent amount of dust coming out of there. Slightly ashamed here. I think if it wasn't too hard work, I would bring the compressor indoors and use that to lightly blow them first. I see why you do this in spring, so you can have the doors open when there's all the dust. Great. In the chateau tour, we also showed you the laundry room, which is just full of washing and sorting and baby clothes, and the gigantic wardrobe that I climbed into. And it's not exactly a cleaning thing, but there's something that's quite unique, I think, to having an enormous building with lots of bedrooms. We buy antique linen, as we told you about, and a lot of it isn't standard size. And a lot of our beds are not standard size either. So there are lots of different sizes of bed and lots of different sizes of sheet, which becomes quite tricky to organise. So as soon as you want to make up a bed, you're not sure which goes with what. And also there are different sheets for summer and winter. And so I'm still in the process of doing it, but these sheets are now organised by size. And then I will be organising, I'll do a chart for which beds fit which sizes, because it's different depending on a base sheet or a top sheet. Because they're antique sheets, we don't have fitted, elasticated ones. Why do we use the antique sheets? Because the linen is fabulous to sleep in. It's warm in winter and cool in summer. It keeps away from the body, and we love them. And so I've done some labelling with fabric labels. I've tried also embroidering it on. But one of the most cunning techniques, fail-safe techniques when you're making a bed, is about having everything folded properly. And Marc taught me this, which he learnt from his mum. If you fold a sheet properly, you don't need to open it out completely in order to see how big it is. So essentially, every sheet is folded from top to bottom rather than side to side or in squares. So if you imagine, it's a bit like a roll, but it's not. You fold bottom to top and then again bottom to top and bottom to top until it's like this. And what that means is you can tell how wide it is. And in fact, you don't even need to open the whole thing. You open it halfway and you say, okay, that's clearly for a single bed or a small double or a big one. And you can just walk to the room, pop it on the middle of the bed and see. And it's a huge time saver, just being able to open it out like that instead of having all your sheets folded in different ways. Tiny bit of geeky laundry stuff there. Marc's obsessed with that. And it just means, so for example, I can see that these are the gigantic ones. There's very few that fit our king size beds. I don't even really need to get it out of the cupboard. I can just see like that. And that is what I'm going to show you today. I think I might do a part 2 because there's quite a few other little tips and tricks of things that we do that are fairly unique to old houses, big chateau and antique furniture. But I think that's about it for today. So I hope you found this interesting. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Thank you.